that. You have guys who have starting experience, real starting experience. You have Walker Powell and you have Stevie Powers. You have Jared Wright that made some weekday starts a little bit in there. So, I think if you look at some possibilities of who might be some other starters outside of Powell, Powers, and Wallner, Alex Nelms from Gulfport has really been impressive. He and Oz have complemented each other in their work, and he's really moving in his development. You also have Mason Strickland, who's that swing guy. Obviously, you hang your hat on him and what he did that 9 o'clock championship day to get us to the 1 o'clock game on Sunday against Florida Atlantic. But, how he just really carved the Charlotte team up. Certainly gives you options as a starter, but it also gives you options as a relief guy as well. So Jared Wright has that experience. Cody Carroll has that experience. Wright and Carroll both set out in the fall, just letting their arms rest off from summer work. Their bullpen sessions, I watched them yesterday, looked very strong. So hopefully them setting out, just like Nick Sandlin did the fall prior, when we set him out, proves to be healthy and strong and refreshed when we come in the spring. So, it's our job to try to figure out in 23 days what exactly is going to be that rotation and where we go from there.
Alex Nelms last year, I know, tough luck. I mean, it just seemed like every time I saw him, he just couldn't. He never got away with any mistake or something like
Growing pains. Yeah. I think, and I feel like that he has really grown from those experiences last year, both positive and negative, however you want to look, good or bad, success or failure. He's a very, very sharp young man, intelligent young man, one that studies the game, and you can see his game has really moved this year from last year and years prior.
Coach, can you talk about Rice has a new head coach this year? When Graham's gone, Matt Braga's in. How do you approach Rice differently now? What do you know about Braga?
No, I've known Matt since the early 90s when he was a coach at Bevel State Community College over in Alabama, and I was coaching at Meridian Community College. So our relationship goes way back. I think the last time that we played one of his teams was in 2009, which was the last regular season series. The year we went to Omaha, it was our bye week, and he was at Tennessee Tech at the time, and they came down and played us. Very competitive club. He'll bring a new energy to Rice, no doubt. I think that those guys will be responding to his energy and his staff. So look for Rice to really move back up. For years and years they've been very, very consistent. Last couple of years kind of dropped off, but Matt's going to bring a whole new energy to that program, and they're going to be good. They can't not be good when you have almost 4 million people in a 100-mile radius. I mean, there's a lot to choose from, and the quality of baseball in that area in the state of Texas is very strong too.
What does it mean to you now that I guess people look at you as the dean of coaches in Conference USA as far as success that Southern Miss had? I guess Southern Miss kind of bell cow now, especially with Wayne Graham going to the Legend. They kind of look, do you feel in any way that you feel any added pressure on you in that realm, or do you just say business as usual?
Business as usual. I feel older. When you say that, I go, man, that makes me older. But I don't. I mean, it's year to year. I'm not in it for me. I'm in it for the program, the young men, both what they experience here and when they leave here and how they impact their communities. And it's a much bigger game than what we're talking about right here to me, and I feel like to our coaching staff as well. So, just very blessed to have been here at Southern Miss for 18 and a half years, going on 19. It's kind of unheard of anymore in college athletics. Nobody really stays around too much at one place very long, but this has been a really blessing to me and my family to be able to be at this program in this community with this fan base, and we look forward to this year.
You mentioned McGillis earlier. How has he improved coming off his redshirt season last year?
Well, he battled an injury, obviously his senior year in high school. So last year was pretty much certain that he was going to redshirt just to really build his body and get that thing strong. Has had no problems. The thing with Will that's been surprising, honestly, is his bat and his power. I didn't really realize that he had that much power, but he does. And I think one thing you have in him is what lacks in ability, is offset by his baseball IQ and his ability to understand how to play the game, to anticipate the game, and be ahead of the game, just because of his intelligence and understanding. So I continue to see him develop, taking shortcuts, understanding his body, not rushing, and just really kind of slowing that game down and using the mental side more than the physical side.
One of the guys you didn't mention among the pitchers, J.C. Keys, does he fit into the plan?
You know, I think what we're probably going to do with JC and Oz can probably allude to it a little bit more, but what we were kind of grooming him for in the fall was on the back end of the game. You know, maybe a 3-out guy to come in and blow it. You know, we all know that he's 90 to 93, can touch some 94s with a power breaking ball, a changeup that can offset some hitters at times and disrupt some timing. He's certainly got a smooth electric arm. He's got to throw strikes, you know, and that's the bottom line. But if you look at the history of JC, he's always been better in shorter stints or in extended stints where we've tried to extend him. He's always been good in the first couple and then kind of starts hitting the wall. So with that being in place and kind of looking at the history of him, we're looking at probably moving him to the back end of the game and just letting him come in and blow it for 3 outs and hopefully getting us a win.
Is he in the running? Are you thinking you have a closer this year? Is he your closer? I mean,
You know, I think if you were to say, if you had to designate one guy as our closer, yes, that would be him. That would be him. Now, how he's going to be responded to closing on a Friday and then coming back on a Saturday, or Sunday, depending on how many pitches, that's still yet to be determined there, how that arm bounces back. But he has no history of arm problems, but he's always had ample rest in between starts or in between outings. So certainly, if we can keep those outs down and those pitches down, then we feel like we can use him multiple times.
Also with his mental approach, because it seems like sometimes the ball gets rolling on him. He'll give up that walk and error or the hit, and then all of a sudden the inning kind of goes to pieces.
Well, you know, and you're right. I mean, and hopefully that's a work in progress that we're just continually, as he gets older, he understands it and understands how to correct those things. A senior year, the 4th year, and sometimes if a kid has a 5th year, those are the huge years. You see those jumps take place. Well, the reason you see those jumps is because he has experience, he has age, he has knowledge on his side, whereas at a younger age, he's still trying to figure it out, you know. And so hopefully, you know, now that he's in his 4th year, that he understands it and he can figure it out, correct it, and stay away from those situations you talked about.
I know you have some spots that are open, but could you run down like position by position how you could see things potentially being?
You know, I think certainly Cole Donaldson, you know, he gives us all the stability we want behind the plate. Athletic-wise, defensive-wise, you know, he'll hit down lower in the order with his bat. Probably have to manipulate it a little bit and make him do some things just to handle it. But, you know, certainly our pitchers love throwing to Cole. You know, one of the better catchers that I've had the opportunity to work with and coach in my coaching tenure. You know, third base, Danny Lynch looks really good there for us. Shortstop, Storm, Will McGillis. Second base, Guidry, you know, exciting player, one of our team captains. First base, Slater returns over there, very athletic. You know, what a great move for him to bring him from an outfielder to a first base and give us that athleticism over there, which a lot of times you don't see. At first base, those guys are just kind of donkeys that can hit. But, you know, the ball finds those guys at times, and that's when you say, man, I wish I had a more athletic guy. Well, Slater gives you that option over there for sure. In center field, Freddie Franklin has looked good. You know, this is his senior year, junior college transfer, so really looking for him to go attack the game. You know, he can be a very exciting player. He's got a lot of ability, but he needs to go attack it, you know, and help us win baseball games with the things that he does well. Hunter LeBlanc, a true freshman, will also see, he'll see time as well, whether it is in the outfield as a starter, whether it's going to be as a pinch hit, pinch runner, but a very, very exciting guy, one that you're going to be writing about in years to come. So, and it may be this year, honestly, but a very, very talented, competitive, highly competitive young man that we have in our program as a true freshman. Gabe Montenegro in left field returns, very solid year, you know, going into the Mississippi State series last year. He was a defensive replacement, late inning pinch hit guy. He gets an opportunity, hits a triple. Next thing you know, he gets in the lineup. He never comes out. You know, the rest is history. Freshman All-American. That's what's neat about our sport. You know, you have to be ready for those opportunities, play your role when asked upon, and if those roles change, take advantage of the opportunity. And that's what the young man did. So, going to hit in the top of our order. Certainly has a knack for getting on base, whether it's base on balls, whether it's hitting the ball the other way, two-strike approach. Tough out lineup, table setter for our guys in the middle of the order that we want driving in runs. Right field right now, we're going to be playing Wallner out there. Another guy that'll see some action as well, a two-way player, is Brant Blaylock, who's a junior college transfer from Northwest Mississippi Community College. He was on the Mississippi State team back when we played them here. We hosted a regional, but a very gifted, strong young man. Once again, we talk about two-way players and how physical you got to be. Brant is certainly one of those as well. So he will see some action both on the mound and as a position player. DH, you know, you have Eric Horde, another senior. It's time for him to step up and make his presence known. Certainly was in junior college last year. Didn't see a lot of action, but is a strong young man. Certainly has the potential. But he's got to go out and give us that opportunity at DH to make a presence in our lineup. So, other guys that might be DHs, Brant Blaylock could be a possibility with that. Hunter LeBlanc. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
Any chances you use Wallner's at DH a lot more, say in the days he doesn't pitch, maybe to save his arm or save him a little bit going through the season, especially when you get in those 5-6 game weeks?
You know, I think if we position him, I think our two options for him, honestly, are no different than Braley. You either use him in the middle of the week, where you DH him in pitching, or you use him on Sunday, where his arm's not affected on Friday and Saturday, and then you DH him on Sunday. So those would be our two options that we would use him. I would not see us using him on Friday and then trying to play him Saturday and Sunday. One thing that we did learn off Braley is he didn't do well just DHing. You know, so if we threw Braley on Saturday and his arm was sore on Sunday, we tried to DH him and he just got bored. I mean, he literally got bored sitting there, and he just could not concentrate to get up there and just hit. So that's when we made the decision to kind of move him on Sunday, keep his mind rolling, whether it was on the mound and hitting or if it was in the field and hitting. And I see no different with that.
Coach, can you talk about the schedule? What do you like, what you don't like in that opening weekend series?
Well, the first 9 out of 10 games are against last year regional opponents. It's a very challenging schedule, but one that we want to be challenging. You know, we all know what RPI is. Everybody around the country that follows baseball or any other sport, basketball, I don't think that football's affected by it, but basketball and baseball certainly are. It's all RPI driven. I mean, it's the basis for the committee putting one in. Sometimes it's a debate for them keeping one out. I know that. But if you don't have a good RPI and you're looking for an at-large, chances are it's not going to happen. And the only way you can do that is by playing a challenging schedule, one that you kind of go back and do a 4-year history on those programs, because it's hard. Because what we have on that schedule right now, we don't know how that program's going to be. I don't know how South Alabama's going to be. Traditionally, they're pretty good, but they may not be this year. You know, and whoever they schedule may not be good. Traditionally, they may be good. Mark Calvey's doing the same thing Scott Berry's doing in trying to put together a schedule. He's trying to plan for RPI. So there's no crystal ball in it. The best you can do is just go on the history of the programs that you're trying to play, and then plug it in, and hopefully the equation figures itself out at the end of the year. But it's a good schedule. I think there, as far as Conference USA, a lot of parity in there. I think that's the way every year. But you know, if you look at where college baseball is and the rules that are presently in place, that the NCAA has in place, it has created a lot of parity throughout college baseball. There are no days off on game days. You better show up to play, or you stand a good chance to get beat. In all, it doesn't matter. You can go through anybody's schedule, you know, and like I think 2 years ago, how in the world did Texas A&M get beat by Houston Baptist? Well, if you're not ready to play, it's going to happen, because Houston Baptist, because of the rules in place and the parity in place, is getting better players from it too. So our schedule's a very good schedule, I feel like, moving forward.
What do you see with Purdue? I know it's kind of early, but
Yeah, really, I haven't even had a chance to look at them yet. I know Gonzaga on weekend 3. From what I understand from their golf coach at Disney World, who I stood in line with, told me they were supposed to lose 2 of their starters on the weekend, but apparently they're back, and he felt like they were going to be pretty good. So I really haven't looked at Purdue. I know that I don't really have to look at them. All I have to do is really concentrate on us. I think what you do is you take your strengths and you put it on the field. You don't try to take a strength and match it, or take a weakness and try to create a strength out of it. I know how we have to play and what we need to do to win baseball games. I do know that you have to have an opponent. You have to have a Purdue. You have to have a Southern University. You have to have a La Tech to play a game of baseball. So it's my message to our players is it's not the opponent, it's the game that we're playing and we're trying to win. And that's as simple as I can, because we all know when we play Mississippi State week 2, everybody's going to try to blow that up. I get it. But it's an opponent. It's a game. It's an opportunity, just like it is with Purdue, just like it is with UNO or anybody else. I don't want us to ride a roller coaster of opponent and energy level of who we're playing and excitement. I want us to ride the roller coaster at the top all the time, and I want us to feel that energy it takes to win baseball games, whoever it is that we're playing. So,
Coach, the way last season ended, not reaching your ultimate goal, you felt that's motivated the team? Have you felt that, just the way they've been practicing?
We really haven't talked about it. I think last year there were a lot of positives. Obviously, when we drew the Arkansas Regional, I knew it was going to be a big test. I'd watched them. I knew the program, knew the players. I knew what they had in place, and it was going to be tough to go up there and win that regional. But once again, we didn't talk about it. We looked at the opportunity. Just like this year, moving forward, the opportunity is February 15th, not 16th, not the 22nd in Starkville. It's the 15th, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep our guys focused on a game-to-game approach and mentality of trying to win that game. And then once that one's over, win or lose, we move to the next one. So I think this program is in place. Just to kind of summarize your question, I think this program's in place. We know what we're trying to do. We're trying to get back to Omaha. It's been 10 years. It's tough to get there. There's 297 Division I programs that are all trying to be one of 8 at the end of the year in the palace of college baseball. So that's our goal, and that's what we're working towards. But it starts February 15th, and it stays only on February 15th until that day's over.
Couple more. Coach, you see Walner's name pop up in some top 50 Major League prospect list, but as it pertains to Southern Miss, what is his ceiling in a black and gold uniform?
Well, he's one of the more exciting players, obviously, that's come through our program. I think he's at a point right now where, he's the guy that everybody surrounds himself with. Luke Reynolds last year, I don't think I really saw that. We had him 1 year, but he wasn't eligible to play, and then he came out. He just took over. He jumped on top and said, "Hey, follow me." And certainly Matt has the ability to do that, both physically and mentally. But, he's got to do it. We've got to have other guys around him that do it, Slater, Guidry, Donaldson, and all the other guys. So he's a guy that can go down like Taylor Braley, as far as an overall baseball player. Taylor ranks at that. What he did on the field defensively at third base, offensively, was phenomenal. But then to take that competitiveness on the mound, the same competitiveness, and channel it into success like he did, that's pretty exciting. And Matt has the ability to do that as well.
Any thoughts about Dozier signing with Washington?
No, I talked to him yesterday. He's excited. I'm excited for him. So, you know, what a fine young man, representative of our program. And, you know, Washington Nationals are very lucky, a franchise to have him in place. He'll certainly make them better, both on the field and off the field, in the clubhouse and everything that he does to represent Southern Miss and represent the Nationals.
Coach,
Oh, and yeah, Scott Copeland has signed a minor league contract with the Nationals too, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Both of those young men played together in 09 on the College World Series team, so he will be at spring training with Doge. So that's pretty neat there with those two. So excited for Scott. You know, he's been up with Toronto. Has he been up with anybody else, or is that the only one?
The Mets.
Oh yeah, Mets last year. So I thought it was two different teams that he's been up with. So young man that's just kind of hung on there and keeps plugging away and trying to make a difference in the organization that he's with.
One more.
Coach, have you named team captains? Do you know who might?
We did. We actually released those today, and it's Wallner and Guidry. So excited. Those are voted on by the team at the end of the fall through an evaluation process, and both of those guys, hands down, were our captains, and rightfully so. You know, and I'm very proud for them, and they're two young men that certainly will show us how to win baseball games.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
Coach.
thanks, Coach.